The Indigenous Storyteller in Residence program here at Vancouver Public Library was created in 2008 and is an absolute essential part of what we do here at the library. Through the Storyteller in Residence program, the library offers cultural, sharing, and education programs for people of all ages and promotes intercultural understanding in the community. The Storyteller in Residence program influences not only what we do here at the library, but how we do it. But all public libraries provide safe, free spaces for people to meet, to gather, and to learn. Keeping and sharing knowledge is a vital aspect to this mission, and the Storyteller in Residence program is essential to the library's effort to decolonizing its practices and to center Indigenous knowledge systems and cultural practices and ways. Tonight, it is my distinguished honor to introduce Les George, OCM, as the 2023 Vancouver Public Library Indigenous Storyteller in Residence. Les George is a member of the Tsleil-Waututh Nation, and I apologize for my pronunciation of that. I know it's like Tsleil-Waututh, so I will try. He lives on the north shore of the Burrard Inlet. He is the grandson of the late Tsleil-Waututh Chief Dan George, and is connected through his family of Squamish as well as Musqueam relatives. For 23 years, Les George was a First Nation support worker with the North Vancouver School District, working closely with our youth and those that have special challenges as well as needs within our community. He shares stories, drumming, songs, and held a restorative justice circles with students, which is incredibly powerful work. Les also works for Takaya Tours, a premium First Nation-owned ecotourism venture in the Lower Mainland. As he guides, he keeps groups safe as they paddle Burrard Inlet and Indian Arm and replica ocean-going canoes and sea kayaks, all while sharing Tsleil-Waututh songs, legends, and information about the village sites. It is now my pleasure to share space and place for all of 2023 with Les George, our 2023 Indigenous Storyteller in Residence.
Good evening, everybody. We'll see you. It always fills my heart being part of this, and when we gather like this, it's part of my teachings, and I've been told that when we gather like this is that we open with a song, and I like to, before I start talking, I like to open with our eagle song, the Tsleil-Waututh Eagle song. And I chose that song because I feel like my heart, my spirit, my mind is starting to rise, and I'm on a different journey right now, and I'm taking that journey to heart, and I really feel that I'm growing in strength too, and so that's a song I'd just like to share with you. And if I could, I'd like to call my son Caleb up to come sing with me. Osium. And when I say Osium to you guys, I've been told that there's a few different meanings to it, and when I'm saying it to you guys, I'm saying it out of respect and for your ears and for listening to the words that I say to you. And whenever you guys feel the need to say it in your heart too, you guys are welcome to say Osium. Osium. But not right now. As mentioned, my father is from Squamish Nation, and my mother is Tsleil-Waututh, and I'm first generation that didn't go to residential school. And that means that my mom and dad both went, and my grandparents went, my great-grandparents, and my great-great-grandparents, and so on, a few generations down the line. And my mom, and both my mom and my dad, they went to a school just right in North Vancouver. Is the closest residential school to us right now. It was called St. Paul's Residential School. And I believe my mom went there from grade 1 to grade 10. And what we were told is we weren't allowed to go past grade 10. We weren't allowed to further our education. And my mom didn't believe in that, and she carried on. She went to a Catholic school, Notre Dame in Vancouver. And she carried on, and she graduated her grade 12, and she went to college after that, and then she went to university, and she carried on, and she gave me a lot of her teachings. And she's from Tsleil-Waututh. My mother's from Tsleil-Waututh. Has anyone ever heard of Tsleil-Waututh? Oh, see him, not you, Nick. Does anybody know what Tsleil-Waututh means? Yes. Oh, see him. That's who we are. That's who I am. That's who my mother was, and that's who my grandparents were, and that's where we grew up. And we're just about 10, 15 minutes off of Second Narrows Bridge if you keep going east. And what I was told is that Tsleil-Waututh used to be 12 to 15,000 strong. And we lived on both sides of the inlet. And we lived from where Lionsgate Bridge, Stanley Park, and carried on both sides of the inlet. So on the North Van side and on the Vancouver side through Vancouver. And if you keep carrying on, we went through Burnaby and through Port Moody, all the way around to Belcarra, and all the way up to a place called Tsleil-Waututh, Indian River, where the freshwater meets the saltwater. And we had many village sites along the way there. We had Kate's Park, which is Wayawachin, faces the wind. We also had a winter village. That was our summer village. We had a winter village, and that was Belcarra. And I'm really honored to be the Indigenous Storyteller for the library. And as I was mentioning, it really fills my heart to get to teach many different nations about our culture and teachings. And I worked in the school district, North Van School District, for 23 years. And for the first 10 years, or for the first 5 years, I was known as a SEA, a support education assistant. And we had to fight and do our rights to be recognized as First Nation support workers, and to work with our own youth. And we did that, and now we're recognized throughout the Lower Mainland as First Nation support workers. OSU. So after the 5 to 10 years I've been working there, I was working with the youth and doing restorative justice circles, because there would be sometimes I worked in an alternate school and there was violence there, and I would restore the justice and just tell them to work it out. And they recognized me for that, and I felt really good about it. And then later on, as I moved to public schools, I started telling stories to certain classes and sharing who I am and where I'm from, and they recognized that, and they asked me if I wanted to carry on with that, and I was like, yeah, sure. And they started putting me in other schools, sending me to different schools, different places in North Van to share my stories and to share my legends and to share our history on the North Shore. So as I was doing that, I carried on all those stories and stuff, and I started moving up. And during my last years, I was getting sent to, and in the meantime, I was doing openings and sharing who I was along with my brother. And I just want to introduce all my family up here. This is all them up here and in the back there. And it's an honor for them to be here. It makes me feel stronger having them here. Oh, see them. So during those years when I was in the North Vancouver School District, I retired from there. And that was just before COVID. And in the meantime, I do seasonal work. I do Takaya Tours, which is a guided canoe tour. And we're based out of North Vancouver. And I'm the cultural guide. I'm also a skipper for the canoes. So I'm either in the back of the canoe, guiding the canoe and keeping everyone safe, or I'm in the front of the canoe, sharing my knowledge and sharing the history and legends and songs. And knowledge keeping didn't just come to me. It's something that I had to work for. It's something that had to stick in my mind. And it's something that wasn't just taught to me by one person. It was taught to me by a bunch of different people, a bunch of different elders, a bunch of different nieces and nephews. It could even be taught to me by even like the smallest ones. They even give me teachings. And I'm still not even done my learning. I'm still learning to be a knowledge keeper today, tomorrow, and in the future. And I too am going to pass it on. And I'm hoping I already am passing it on. So just before COVID, so that's what I do in Takaya Tours. And actually I have a job coming up on Saturday. I'm going to go do one of my first tours on Saturday out of Waututh. And I'm looking forward to that. As I mentioned, to Tsleil-Waututh, and as one of our members mentioned, that it's people of the inlet. And that's who I really truly believe I am. Because that's when I'm out on that water, whenever I'm feeling grumpy or crabby or sad or just mixed emotions, sometimes I don't even know what I'm feeling, that's where I go ground myself, is down at the inlet. And when I'm on those canoes, I feel like that's where my heart belongs. And I know that those are our ancestral highways of where our members traveled. And back to our members, as I mentioned, we had 12 to 14,000 members to Tsleil-Waututh. And what I was told at one point, we were down to 13 members. We had 2 waves of smallpox pandemic come through our nation and wiped a lot of us out. And the 13 members is what I was told is adults. The adults, so it doesn't include the children. Because on the status card, our Indian card, they call it at the border, they call it the Indian card, and here we call it a status card. But they have our numbers on there, and our kids have their numbers on there, but they're under our status number. So that's how that works. So they're down to 13 adults, to Tsleil-Waututh was. And what I know now is that we're just almost up to 600 members. So we're slowly building again, and we're slowly getting back up there. And what I call moving back home is what I did. I grew up in East Van. I grew up around throughout the East Van area in the inner city. And what I was just telling my sons on the way over here is that as an inner city child, or as either a res child or an inner city child. And if we weren't playing around in the city, we would go with my mother over to our village. It's what I call a village. And the reason I call it a village is because just right across the street, my sister lives just over there. And just a block down, my youngest son lives there, and up 3 blocks is where my oldest son lives. So we're all family, and Nick lives. I can see Nick when I'm come out on my patio, I wave at him. I say, Nick. He says, what? And that's how we greet each other. So that's why I call it a village. And like about 5 blocks down is where my grandmother used to live. And she passed on to the spirit world, and her house is still there. And so right down there, that's why I call it a village. And when I first used to come over with my mom, I believe that there was about maybe 20 houses along Dollarton Highway, and barely even 1 block up. And that block was dirt road. And now it goes like about 6 or 7 blocks up off the highway. If any of you ever been over there on Dollarton Highway, you know where I'm talking about. If you go up Tsleil-Waututh, we used to just be able to go up that road. We used to just sled down that road. It wasn't even like a paved road. But now it's a paved road, and it goes up about 7 blocks. And the development up there is just pretty amazing of how far we've come. So you'll know you're in my village when you look on the street signs and you see the banners, and they'll have this wolf on there. And that's when you know you're in my village. And when I'm talking about going down to the water, I used to go down there all the time during canoe season and do canoe races, and we'd practice canoe every day. And as I mentioned, it's a village, it's all family. So if I'd go down to the canoe shed and then I'd need to go to the bathroom or get something to eat, I can just go to anybody's houses. It's all family there. And if any of you guys are ever there, you guys are welcome to too now that you guys know. Just tell them that Nick sent you. So part of our culture is we're part of the Wolf Clan. And that's what we have right here. And right now, I'd just like to share another song with you guys. And this is our wolf song. Oh, see you. So I have a theme for my storytelling, and I have my legends in my mind, and part of our teachings and our culture is based off the medicine wheel, and it consists of balance. And what I'm putting on the medicine wheel this year is going to be family, teachings, culture, and love. And those are going to be the four, one in each color. And that's what I'm going to base it off of, because family is something that's really huge to me and to my family right here. And when we do gatherings, like when we used to go to grandma's all the time, hey sis, when we go there for gatherings, for birthday cakes, for Christmas dinners, for just whatever, we would go there and we'd hang out. Oh, Easter's coming up, and we do big scrambles and stuff like that. So family is really important to us. Each of us has our roles in a family. And we always support one another. That's a big thing in the family. And being all together, that helps the family grow. And whether it be happy times, sad times, tough times, and even ceremonial times, as long as we're all there together, we're all going to be a strong family. For the teachings, they're nonstop. As I mentioned earlier, the teachings are nonstop. They're going to continue on daily, monthly, yearly. And we're going to share that knowledge with one another. And even being here tonight, we're going to learn a little bit more knowledge, and we're going to share that together. And passing it down, I have my first grandson right here. He's playing the drum with us. Oh, see him. Oh, see him. That's who we're going to be passing it down to, and that's my oldest son that came up to sing with me, and we're passing these on to them. And the culture is going to be another part of it, and that's something that we almost lost. I wasn't even raised on culture, really. I grew up being an altar boy in church. I know all the prayers. I went to church every Sunday. I had the holy bread. I knew God. I knew Jesus, the devil. And not till I knew a little bit about our culture, but it's something that was almost lost for me, I felt, because my mother and my father weren't allowed to learn it. My grandmother and grandfather, if they did any of their culture, there was a possibility that they could have been thrown in jail. If they were singing these songs that we were just singing, it would be considered illegal. So that's one of the things that's really powerful, this culture. I wear a little bit of my regalia tonight, and this was passed down to me from my mom. And she gave it to me back in '96, and the leather broke. And I told my dad's girlfriend, I told her, because she does art now. And unfortunately, my mother's passed on to the spirit world too. We lost her to cancer. But my father's girlfriend, she's a art worker. She does necklaces and stuff. And I asked her to fix this for me. I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's 2 beads on here. See? And these 2 beads, they're from my dad. My dad found them a long time ago. So that's part of the regalia. And when we wear a regalia, we wear it loud and proud. And we have the respect for the regalia when we wear it. And we're representing who we are, the Tsleil-Waututh and Squamish. So when I'm wearing my regalia, as you can see in my poster, that's part of our regalia that we wear. And we share it loud and proud. And for the culture, we have keepers. We have all our keepers for each nation, not only here in BC, but all across Canada and down in the States for each village site. And we have keepers of the land, who I like to say who both my sons are. I believe my Uncle Ed. My mom comes from a family of 10, and she's the oldest daughter, and she had 4 sisters and 5 brothers. And she was a keeper of the children, my mother was. My Uncle Ed was a keeper of the land. And what I mean by this is that his job was to maintain the lands all the time. And to Tsleil-Waututh, people of the inlet, his office was the inlet. And that's who my son's offices are, is the inlet. They're on the water every day. And they maintain these lands, and they go up to our traditional lands, and they keep it safe and clear up there. My mother was a keeper of the children. She always had a big heart for children. Any little children that was, is it Munmuns? Munmuns is children in the Squamish language, and she was a keeper of the Munmuns. Anytime she seen any child that was sad, as soon as they'd see my mom, they'd stop crying. And that's just who she was. That's who her heart was. And she carried on that teaching, and she became a coordinator. And she passed on those teachings to whoever wanted to learn how to become a teacher, our daycare teacher. And that's a keeper of the children. We have keepers of song and dance. We have keepers of weaving. I know keepers of the weaving. We have keepers like the canoe makers, keeper of the storytelling, keepers of the drum. I have this drum here. I didn't make this drum, but we did what we call trading or bartering. And I did it with one of our drum makers within our nation, within our village. And that's how the system works through our nations. And not only my nation, through many other nations. And the last one is love. Love is what holds the family together. Love is what I believe we all believe in. It bonds the family together. It has many forms and meanings to it, the love. That we have, as I mentioned, we have all the forms and meanings. We have all together love, like we're all together now. We have sad love when we come together, and there's sad, but if we were just by ourselves, it would be harder for us. When we're all together, the sad love makes us stronger. We have celebration love, birthdays, gatherings, as I mentioned earlier, and stuff like that. And we have tough love. Hey, bro. Tough love is like one of the best forms of love there is. It's something that we all need to take in. It's something that we all need to hear. And it's just the way it goes. So that's going to be what I'm going to be doing throughout the Lower Mainland here. And if I can call Andrew up. Andrew's a really great guy. He's really taking good care of me. Oh, see him.
All right, so yeah, I had a lot written down here that I was going to tell you about Les, but he kind of showed it all already, so I'll just talk about the programs a little bit, give Les a chance to rest up here. So Les is planning public events for people of all ages at the library. He's obviously an experienced educational professional and just an absolutely lovely and kind person, so he's perfectly positioned to work with children. So he'll be doing classroom visits in local schools and library branches with kids from preschool out on into high school. He'll also be doing 2 virtual classroom visits. One's going to be recorded for preschool age kids, and the other's going to be for middle years classrooms around the province and country. So if you know a teacher, let them know. They can put those in their classroom. And Les is also going to be doing some adults and all ages programs. Les wants families to come to the programs as much as possible. So that's starting up next Saturday, March 18th. Les is going to be hosting his first of his monthly Saturday cultural sharing drop-ins here at Central Library. And he'll also be hosting a lunchtime cultural sharing program on March 29th. And as Les mentioned, he's got the interconnected themes of culture, teachings, family, and love. And these themes are abundantly clear in his plans for his evening programs that he's going to be hosting in April and May. In his programs, Les will be teaching about Tsleil-Waututh culture, including the importance of the canoe tradition to the people of the inlet. We're also going to be screening the 1975 film Cold Journey, which features Les' grandfather, late Chief Dan George. And Les will be teaching about the tragic death of Cheney Wenjack, whose story the movie is based on. Les is going to be bringing his brother Sam in to speak about residential school, and Caleb is going to speak about language revitalization and his role as a language keeper. So I'm not going to bore and confuse everyone by rattling off more dates. All these events are going to be posted on the VPL website. The Indigenous Storyteller in Residence is the featured program, so it should be easy to find. If not, you can please email in to programs@vpl.ca or come talk to me after the event, and I'll be happy to give you the deal. So, yeah, as I said, I had more written down, but Les just does the thing. So I'm so excited that starting tonight, everyone is gonna get the chance to learn through firsthand experience just the depth of warmth, kindness, and connectedness that comes through when Les teaches, which he does all the time. In working with him for just a month, I've already learned from Les and seen how deeply those interconnected themes can be in a learning journey. And yeah, I'm just so excited that everyone is gonna get to share in it, and it has been a joy of my life working with Les just for a month so far. So here's Les to close it out.
As Andrew mentioned, my great-grandfather was the late Chief Dan George, and how that is my grandmother was the oldest daughter of Dan George, and my mother was the oldest granddaughter of Chief Dan George, and being the oldest granddaughter, she was kind of spoiled a little bit. She was one of the favorites, and when my grandpa traveled around, he was a poet, and he was a strong knowledge keeper, and he shared a lot wherever he went. He was a Hollywood actor, and he traveled around a lot. And being the oldest granddaughter, my mom got to travel around with him lots too. And what I've been told is that he went to a lot of different villages, and he got these hotels, really good hotels, and he would ask to go to the village and meet and greet, and sometimes he'd even choose to stay in the villages, which are reservations. And to Tsleil-Waututh, as I mentioned, I call it a village, but if you were to Google it, it would say IR3, Indian Reservation 3. And I don't like knowing it as that. I like to know it as my village. But as I mentioned, my grandfather would like to travel. When he traveled, he would ask to go to these villages, and he had this song, this prayer song. We call it Tsleil-Waututh prayer song, and we still use it today. He used it lots, and we still use it today. We use it for ceremonies, we use it for celebrations, and we just use it whenever we need to use it. And when he sang the song, he would sing it in other villages. And later on, what I heard was that the chiefs and matriarchs and the leaders from different nations and different villages, they would gather together, or they did gather together. And they approached my grandfather, and they asked if they could adopt the song. And being the humble man my grandfather was, he agreed. And our Tsleil-Waututh prayer song today is also known as Coast Salish Anthem. And I know this song very well, and as I mentioned, I've been working in the school district, and I taught this song to choirs. And now in North Van School District, and I've also been working for Burnaby School District for a couple months. And in some of those schools, they incorporate that song with, just before O Canada, they'll sing the Coast Salish Anthem. Oh, see him. So, and actually I've heard that, or I've even seen it, it's been sung at BC Lions games, Whitecap games, Canuck games, and Warriors games, the lacrosse team. So this song is the Coast Salish Anthem, and that's how I'd like to end our night. So that's a song I'd like to share with you guys. Oh, see him. just want to thank everyone from the bottom of my heart for being here tonight. It really means a lot to me, and I'm really looking forward to the Indigenous storytelling this year. And when I raise my hands up to you guys, I raise it in thanks and honor and strength. Oh, see you. Have a good night.